What's going on, fellow humans and resellers? It is I, James, ReadOptionAgency.com. 21 years selling on eBay. All right. What is going on? Well, if you saw last night's video with the sales kind of vanished for like 4 hours. Actually, right after I put up the video, I got a sale. So at like 8:13, I think it was. So 15 minutes shy of 4 hours without anything coming through. So, and then, got an offer here. Let me go ahead and take that offer. A Ralph Lauren tote purse. So then I had the one at 8:13, and then it went blank again till 8:53. At 8:53, one sold. 8:55, one sold. 9:02, 4 sold, and then 9:59, another one sold. So it opened up right before the 9 o'clock hour. Had one sale in the 10 o'clock hour, and then the 11 o'clock I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the 11 o'clock hour. So I didn't expect it to pick back up last night. I expected it to be off all night. So I was quite surprised when I woke up this morning. 1 in the 12 o'clock hour, 1 in the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, nothing. People who say they're going to return stuff and open a return but never return it. Then the 3 o'clock hour, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items in the 3 o'clock hour. So when I say I usually get sales all night, if you can get that many sales in the 3 o'clock hour of night Central Time, wonder where they're going. Let me even see if they're going West Coast. Oh, going to Norway. And that's why I get good sales throughout the night when things are working properly, because I get the international sales throughout the night. Then nothing in the 4, nothing in the 5, 1 in the 6, 1 in the 7. And then 8 o'clock, I took a bunch of offers and had some sales. So that's what's is being paid now. We are now at 9:15 a.m. So it looked like it turned back on for me. So thankfully, I did not expect that, because normally in the past when I would have like 2.5 days of good sales, and the one time I had 4.5 days of good sales, at that 5 o'clock-ish time when things just stopped, it didn't cut back on for quite a while. So it's definitely a different feel here, the fact that it clicked back on and stayed on. So surprising. So that is different, positive. And you saw last night's video also, it was about the repeat business policies. So more were added to my duplicate policy overnight, which is weird because I don't think I had anything ending overnight and relisting, because I was caught up with sell similar. So I'm not sure what got added to that. So it's weird. I did notice some of the items when I would end it to sell similar were jumping into that extra business policy for returns. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch last night's video and get caught up on that issue. But yeah, I have no idea there. So yesterday I ended at $746. So at least I got over my 721 goal that I try to set for every day to at least get there. My average used to be about 800. So as long as I can get over that, I'll be fine. And that'll probably bring my average back up to 800 plus, because some days, like Sunday, I had $1,000 day, 900 Saturday, 800 Monday. So And 1.8 million impressions yesterday, 57 items sold. The organic was still low, only 9 organic, which matched. Well, the day before it did say 9 organic, now it says 8 organic. So don't know what's up with that. Took one away because I thought it was 9, if I remember correctly. So this morning at 9:20, got 12 items sold. And at 10, I like to be 150 to 250. When things are working right, I'm usually over that. So we're at 9:18 and I'm at 179. So headed toward the midway point of that. So that works for me as long as it keeps going. See if you guys got any questions and comments on the videos, especially with last night's and what have you. And then we'll get into shipping this stuff. Kind of curious if things change when they switch everyone to the new international shipping rules. I think that has a lot to do with it, with the fact that they're just updating software. They've updated their servers and or still updating their servers. Yesterday, I was still getting server failures and system failures when I was ending and selling similar. I wonder if the sellers who are doing okay with no lapse in sales already signed up. No, because mine's turned on, and the others that I know are having issues are turned on. So I don't think that's it. I had the same thing happen when my shipping policies and return policies were getting copied. I would delete them and they would come back, and that's what's happening. So another thing, twice in the last week, I noticed in the morning that I would have to re-sign into eBay. So maybe they are working on it overnight. Yeah, I haven't had to re-sign in, but I know that some nights they're working on things, because when I get that blank of 7 hours of nothing coming through, kind of indicates that something's going on. So I speculate that's what's happening. I wish they would tell us what is going on, or at least tell us when they are working on it. It blows my mind that they remain silent. It's one of those things, in my opinion, it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission type of thing. Because if something as simple as a fake picture of an explosion outside the Pentagon can dip the stock market, if they said anything about how messed up their site was, their investors would lose a lot of money, their stockholders, until it was repaired. And if it's like a 3+ year long project, they don't want to ride that at the very low, the bottom end of everything. That's my theory on it. That's why they keep the hush-hush and act like nothing's wrong, nothing's going on. So after being on the phone with eBay all morning so far, 2 different reps told me the reasons they are creating copies are because of international shipping being selected. If you are enrolled in the new eBay International Shipping Service, you shouldn't have international shipping selected in the business policies. That's not true, because I have mine turned on for like my larger items, but I use international shipping because I ship it myself. Now, whether that's a correlation to why it's duplicating, I'm not sure. Or it will create copies excluding international shipping. Well, that's kind of where I don't see that as being 100% true, is because my shipping is not necessarily creating the copies. There was a couple of small ones, but my return is what's creating the copy. And I checked, and they're both exactly the same. It didn't change anything in either one. They're exactly the same copies. Like if you go and try to make a copy of the exact same thing, it's going to tell you you have one just like it. You have to switch something in there. But this is an exact copy. So I'm not sure if that full statement is 100%. But it's the reps, they're not told everything. So they're told very little. I feel like the reps sometimes have to figure it out for themselves, just like us, to be honest with you. So yeah, it didn't change it on mine. It just duplicated it. I always hit sell similar and open in a new tab and then in the listings. I also have had items completely disappear after ending them. Yeah, if you try to relist in bulk or whatever and it says failure, that's when they kind of vanish. Haven't sold a thing in days, no offers, and dismal views. I called eBay, they refreshed one sale and then back to nothing. Thanks, James. I had to change about 250 items. No offers, no sales since Saturday. And see, I can't respond to you guys like that if I don't know your store, don't know how big your store is, don't know what you're promoting at. So that's why I don't really respond to those if you say you have no sales, because I don't know the details and the in and outs of your business, your store and stuff. So love your t-shirt, the Fudge Factory, the Uranus, Missouri shirt I had on yesterday. Today is Life is Good. Here in Canada, eBay did a special deal with Canada Post, and now we have a light expedition shipping option for items under 200 grams. Before it was under 500. But with adding the option to our jewelry, I noticed that the weight option had all changed for international shipping. Used to be 1 to 100 grams, 101 to 250, 251 to 500. Now it's changed to 1 to 99. So now I have to go through almost 4,000 items and change them to the new weight. The majority of eBay executives are from Walmart. Well, I know the CEO is, so I could guess that he was probably hiring his, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he hired people he worked with before, if that was a case that he liked. They are clueless how to run eBay, which is not Walmart. Yeah, I definitely feel they got but here's the thing. It's kind of like maybe they're getting what they wanted, kind of like Bud Light. Bud Light, the person who took over the media thing, who I guess doesn't work there now, said she wanted to change the face of Bud Light by getting rid of the frat. Well, they kind of did that. They succeeded. Sure, their stock dropped, but they succeeded with what they wanted to do. Probably wasn't the right thing for the brand, but they succeeded in her statement in that objective. They changed it. So maybe eBay's getting what they want out of this person. If he's going after the high dollar Louis Vuitton sales and the high sneaker sales, and that's all he cares about, maybe they're getting what they want. And we're just getting left in the dirt, So we might see it as they don't know what they're doing. eBay might look at it as they're getting what they want. So who knows? It's all about the perspective and what they want. But yeah, it's definitely a thing too, also with the eBay site being messed up. If they gave everybody a heads up within the company and said, hey, this 3 years is going to be a rocky road because we're doing A, B, C, and D to reach objective Z, they're just getting what they're expecting right now, which is a bumpy road. So being that we don't know any of that, it just looks like they don't know what they're doing. So it's all about the perspective and the knowledge of what you have about the subject you're speaking of. So, anyway. Amy and Dan say the duplicate shipping policy started for us yesterday and has continued today. So it is happening for them also. The Hustle Couple, if you don't follow them. Hustle Couple, here's something odd. Approximately 75% of my impressions are due to promoted listings, but only 15 to 20 turn into page views. The majority of either organic or from external sites. From April 23rd to May 13th, about 50% of my sales were from promoted listings. But since May 15th, 100% of my sales are organic. That's odd. But I've always said some of the issues and some of the bugs seem to be within that promoted system, because how can and the way it kind of works with the algorithm, because how can I have almost 50,000 items up but only sell 9 organic items, right? So something, I don't know, something was, and maybe those are the days where my organics getting pushed farther to the back to give other people more, higher spots. That could be it too. So we don't know. That's the problem. We don't know how it works. And trying to figure it out is a pain in the butt. But going from, 50% to 100% is definitely odd. But then I'll have days, I haven't had them in probably a couple of weeks, but I'll have days where my promoted is like 20. And I'm like, how am I only getting 20 promoted sales when I have 50,000 items? And I promote at, all my items right now are promoted since I don't do the low, cheap dollar free shipping stuff anymore. So it's just, I don't know, it's very strange. So. All right. Oh, another YouTube creator that I follow also lost her puppy this past week. He was in every video. Oh, I'm not sure who that is. I made a joke yesterday that, what do I want to happen when we die? And my thing was to meet whoever, whatever created us, so I can smack the afterlife out of them for making dogs' lives so short. All right, let's get into. Well, I always forget I got to refresh stamps, and it takes a little bit longer than it used to. So let me get that started and get pirate ship started up. Orders, refresh. All right, let's see. Why does that always pop back up when I click off? Yesterday, while I was listing, every time I finalized my listing, I noticed that my business policy for $4.99 shipping was switched to some policy eBay created. Yeah, if you see Josh's video, he put that up where he was showing it. Every time he even moved a cursor, it would change it and flip it. So yes, that is definitely a problem. No matter what I did, it keeps switching to their free policy. Okay. So it was changing your $4.99 to a free one. Interesting. Had to call, and the rep saw it too and put in a ticket. I then noticed that there were several policies I never created in there. Annoying. Yes, definitely a bug. And I'm brain farting real quick. Jonathan from Flippin' Ain't Easy sent me an email, and he says, he kind of knows software, so if there's bugs and glitches in there, there's probably a lot more in stuff we don't see. There's probably a lot more bugs and glitches and things we don't see, which is probably true. I listened to the eBay for Business podcast a couple weeks back, and they had an eBay executive from the policies area who said they were in the process of overhauling the seller business policies and seller interface. Might be what's behind this. I would probably say yes. Yes. So I wouldn't expect it to change anytime soon. My thing is I'm going to spot check what sells of mine, since it's listing a lot of my items and switching them over. I'm going to spot check the items I sell that have sold and see if see how kind of the balance is, see if they're selling with both of those return policies or not. Because I'd hate it if one of them was causing the other to crash sales. So I'm going to let mine play out, and as it switches and puts more in there, and see if that variation changes any at all. So And that'll kind of give an indication to, okay, is the policy that we created bad, and that's why it's switching and creating a new one? Or is it a bug that's switching and creating the new one, and that's the bad one? So knowing which one is bad is probably going to be, if any, is going to be a critical piece of information, I think, because then we know if the old one's bad, we want to change them all to the new one, or create a new one on our own and move them all to there. And I started to do that yesterday. I started just to create all new policies for payments and everything, and just start switching everything over. But I'm like, I won't get ahead of myself. I like getting ahead of things like that, and it usually doesn't. It's usually work that's wasted. So I figure I'm just going to sit back and write it out. And now that you said that, you saw that they talked about changing that up. I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens from there on out then. So that's what I'm going to do, I guess. Just wait it on out. Unless things like totally tank, and then I'm going to have to do something. All right. First up, we've got, are you ready for a vinyl lot? Yeah. We've got 3 pieces of vinyl. Les Brown, modern. Concert modern. We got a little Mac Davis. And we got some Fifth Dimension. 3 pieces of vinyl. Sold for $11. Headed to Norwalk, Connecticut. Norwalk, Connecticut. But, I got new tape upstairs. I need to get that down when this one runs out. I guess if you're kind of using my store as like a gauge on your store, because maybe you get this either the similar or opposite reaction. When I'm good, you're bad, or when I'm good, you're good, whatever the case may be. And if you're on that bad cycle, just remember the good will come back around. So keep that in mind so you stay motivated to keep listing your items. That's the way I'm just trying to remember it and look at it, is even when my sales are down and out, the more I list on the bad days, the more I'll be rewarded on my good days. So, until it is all taken care of. Alrighty, we've got a promo, the Album Network Retail Tune number 56 with Real Big Fish on it. And it has a bunch of different artists on it. Promo sampler CD, basically. Sold for $7, headed to El Paso, Texas. Texas. There are no mailers here. Adrian just puts anything anywhere. Candy up here. A tube. What is today? Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday. Alright, sales don't stop now. Erase all these since I'm caught up with the information. Get those out of my way. Alright. Next up, we've got another vinyl. Wings of the Wind. Sold for $4, headed to Richardson, Texas. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, man. A little slow today. Let's see. Let's find a topic to talk about other than problems with the eBay site. We've got Entrance Electric Pleasure cassette. Sold for $5.60, headed to Chicago. And I do got cassette mailers now. All right. Oh. See, we got a Norway. Looks like the only international item. That was a hand. Huh. Anyway. Are you ready for a cassette lot? An offer. We got Hugh Lewis in the News Sport. Stephen Wright, I Have a Pony. Earl Thomas Conley. And John Conley. So 1, 2, 4 cassettes. Sold for $18.50, headed to Jackson, Missouri. Sweet, no gluing on 4 items that potentially could be glued. I can kind of tell which cassettes by the label they're on, if they're going to need glued or not, because some will fall off easier than others. NCA and Hugh Lewis in the News, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. 8-5. Born in a dead man's town. The first kick I took was when I hit the ground. In the block, a dog that's been beat too much. Spend half your life trying to cover it up now. Or something like that. We've got a Super 8 Motel button-up work shirt. I love finding stuff like this. Been in the store for a while. I think I actually just relisted it because it was not listed. Sold for $16, headed to Triangle, Virginia. Triangle, Virginia. Yeah, when I was like yesterday, I think it was when I was saying when I need motivation to list, I always picture myself where I grew up. And so I grew up in an apartment. I never had my own room. I used to sleep on the living room couch for the first like 19 years. We had a basement, but you had to go outside to get in the basement. So we didn't really sleep in the basement or anything unless we had friends over and we would just hang out and stay up all night or something, right? But I always picture myself in that basement because I did make a makeshift room down there. I just didn't sleep down there. We'd go and hang out down there, play Nintendo or whatever. But I didn't try to put too much down there because people would break in. Like I had my bike stolen out of there one time and stuff. So I like built a wall in the back of the basement, put locks on the wall so it'd take a lot of noise to get into the room that I built. But I always picture myself in that room, and if I had a computer in there and all this stuff, what would I be doing? I'd be listening like crazy, right? So I always kind of use that as my motivation. And I pulled the wrong cassette here. Pulled the right title, Hank Williams, I Saw the Lights. Hank Williams, yeah, Hank Williams Sr., I Saw the Light. But it's a different version, C72. So let me go make sure I can find that right version here. C70, oh, it's right over here, duh. C72. There it is. So Hank Williams, I Saw the Light, sold for $550, headed to Iowa. But I just had another subject to talk about and I totally lost it. Here. I lost it. It's gone. It went poof. Like every day for the past like 5 days, I've gotten up at least 100 items each day. Got about 150 to 160 up each day. And yesterday I got like 50, I think. I'm like totally slack yesterday. All right, we got a Perry Como 45 record. Sold for $420, headed to Arizona. And they need a 45 maybe. I've got to really figure out how to change my thinking. Whoops. When it comes to those bad eBay days, and I try to blame myself, like I don't know what I'm doing. I suck. My items suck. What I sell is not, nobody wants anymore. And I just have to remember all these days that all this just normal stuff sells. More times than not. So I gotta figure out how to get over that hump because it's a pain. I gotta start, I guess, thinking more, see, I don't want to, that's the problem with me. Like, in order to change that, I gotta think more, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. But all my life, I have taken fault for everything so that I could change it, right? So I don't want to get stuck in that it's not my fault mentality. And so that's why I think I have a hard time trying to change it, is because if I walk down a street and get robbed, I look at that as my fault for walking down that street at that particular time. So how can I change it to make sure it don't happen again? I don't walk down that street at that time. So it empowers you to take some kind of responsibility for whatever happens. At least that's the way I've always viewed it. Never have a victim mentality. There's too many people that have either victim mentalities these days, or have the it's owed to them, or the people have to watch out for them type of thing, like people being triggered or whatever by something. Well, I'm not going to stop being me just so that if something offends you or whatever, so you're not triggered or anything. No. There's too many people who are just being raised, if you will, with the wrong mentality, with the control mentality, actually. If you really think about it, it's about control. If you think you're always a victim, or people should respond to you being offended or triggered or whatever, that's a controlled mentality. I can control somebody very easily who thinks they're a victim. I love the whole purpose of reading people's bodies and controlling people in a sense, because I kind of did that growing up. I wasn't controlling, but I knew how to manipulate a system, or a situation, I should say, to use it to my advantage. And that was part of me growing up, trying to get out of my current situation. Another eBay box messed up. Is if I felt and that's not always in a negative light. Like if you're in a bad situation and you're dealing with somebody who's a little ooh, or who thinks they're a victim. Another eBay box messed up. You can outwit them and mentally control them to get yourself out of a negative situation. And another eBay box messed up. And another eBay box messed up. And another eBay box messed up. And one that's not messed up. But, so I love the whole... Oh, this one's messed up too because it's not cut right. I love the whole mentality of how you can control... Because people like that are kind of... Oh, this thing is all jacked up. Look at that. That whole thing's like cut wrong. Oh yeah, the whole... Let me grab another pack. Those are all jacked up. Those will be spare boxes. Let's see here. Like I always looked growing up, if I encountered somebody who was a little crazy or a little off and they were threatening in a threatening manner, I always made sure that I'm smarter than they are. Okay, how do I get out of this situation without causing conflict, right? Or creating more of a dangerous situation. And people who think they're the victim, if you can cater to people, you can control people. Auto Parts, Napa hat, sold for $9.50, headed to Wisconsin. Like, nobody can cater to me. There's really nothing that's going to make me follow somebody, if you will, right? Or totally 100% agree with somebody. I'm always going to question everything, whether that's what they're talking about or their motive of why they're talking about it. But when you have people who feel they're a victim, they will all you have to do is say the right things and they will follow you without a doubt. I think that's why so many people follow cults and stuff, the whole Waco thing and stuff like that, because those people with those victim mentalities, they kind of have a weaker mind not mind physically as a whole, but a weaker way of thinking. And until they wake up, you can control that. So that's why I always make sure I've never been a victim. And I think it has a lot to do with the governments and stuff of the future. You know, it's all about taking more from people and controlling people in one way or another for whatever reason. You can come up with 1,000 conspiracies as to why, but they're being groomed. Mid-Autumn Night CD sold for $420, headed to Collierville, Tennessee. They're being groomed to be easily controlled and manipulated. Because if you remember back in the day, and they probably still do it, the military, you can read it in like classified documents, they would use the whole mind control and find ways to do mind. I mean, everything from LSD to who knows what, a way of controlling people. But the easiest way to control people is to change their thinking, change their mentality. And if you turn them into victim mentalities, no matter what you say, you can control them. And that's a lot easier than feeding everybody LSD. You know what I mean? So you get a lot more stability out of changing people's thoughts with words and times and false reality than you do drugging them. Moody Blues cassette sold for $560, headed to Mount Holly, New Jersey. That's why, like when people would attack me when I was growing up, I wasn't a fighter. I was an outthinker, if you will. Like if you did something to me somehow, some way, well, I wasn't going to come fight you. I was going to weasel my way into your life and take things from you in the non-physical form. So, whether that's making you doubt yourself, making your girlfriend doubt you, whatever, you know, just sick head games. But, you know, we were all young and did stupid things at one time, but that was just my way of fighting at the time. Now I just turn and walk away. But At the Drive-In promo CD sold for $630. Headed to San Antonio, Texas. Texas. Yeah, instead of destroying people by fighting from the outside in, because I probably would have lost a lot more fights than I would have won. I destroyed people from the inside out, if you will. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying we all were young and dumb at one time. I'm not saying it was dumb. It's probably a smart way. I didn't get my butt kicked. It's just immature, I guess you could say. Immature. Whereas today I wouldn't even waste my energy or time on anything like that. Etta James, promo single, sold for $5, headed to Kingsley, Michigan. Now I just erase people from my life. Like, if you're just even a negative entity, erase. Like a 100% negative entity, if you will. Or you just seem like just not a good person, you know? Like, it's so easy to spot people who are just don't seem like good people. And I've always been an advocate for you are the company you keep. Because I always knew growing up, if I was with the wrong person and they were getting arrested for something, I would be arrested too. So I was never arrested or in trouble growing up because I believed in the philosophy of you are the company you keep. So, and could have easily many times gone down the wrong road. Game Informer magazine. Sold for $5, headed to Marlborough, Massachusetts. Like the time and like the guys I used to ride bikes with growing up, it was basically all black guys and me, right? Down from the street that I wouldn't walk down as a white person because if there wasn't somebody there vouching for me, I would have got my butt kicked type of thing. But like in about 87, I think it was, 85 maybe, one of them got wind that the GT bike, BMX bike, there was either a warehouse or something that was housing a bunch of the new bikes. It was the first time they were going to have the hot pink Daylo Glow pink bikes released. And somebody got wind that they were in this warehouse and they were going to go one night and steal them. And I'm like, man, I want that bike, right? But of course, I'm like, no, I'm not getting myself into trouble. Next thing I know, the next day, there's Daylo unreleased GT bikes rolling around the streets. Of course, they all got confiscated because that bike had not been released yet. So anytime an officer saw one, they got the person and got the bike. So, and I've had friends growing up who overdosed and stuff like that. So I could have easily went down any of those roads. But I always just tried to make myself believe I was smarter and bigger and better than that, if you will. And it worked. Kept me out of trouble and stuff. So. I'd rather have friends telling me they think I'm conceited than somebody trying to bail me out of jail. So. Next up, are you ready for a hat lot? Yeah. We've got 4 hats. No, we got more than that. We got 6 hats. Sold for $63. Headed to New Jersey. So we've got Hurley. We got a Mizzou. An unknown letter S. Unknown F, a Volcom, and another Hurley. 6 hats, $63. I need a box. A box. Oh my God. So at the time of being young, I think that mentality I had helped me and benefited me. Of course, it probably did a lot of negative too with people who you know, maybe I pushed away somehow that I shouldn't have. But I think it was more beneficial than negative. Where now today, I think since I don't need to have that mentality to survive, I think today it would be less beneficial and more damaging than it would be good for me. So that's why you always got to change, you know. Okay. I had this one friend I've known since I was 5 and he was 3. He never changed. Never changed. And we would always say, well, that's him. That's him. That's him. That's who he is. That's him. Until we all just got tired of it. And we told him, like, dude, you have no respect for anything. It's like you're 15 still. You have no respect for anything, anybody, not even yourself. And we just can't do it anymore. And I don't think any of us talk to him anymore that we used to all hang together. We just all cut him off. The last straw for me was I paid for everybody to go on a guide trip and only had one rule. Don't bring nothing illegal. Drugs. Like one friend I know carried a gun. If you don't have a permit to cross the state line with a gun, don't bring your gun. Don't do anything that's going to get us in trouble. So what does he do? I find out after we get back that he brought drugs. You had no respect for me. I was paying for the whole trip. You had no respect for anything. You had no respect for all of us who were on the trip. You could have got us all in trouble some way, somehow. That was my last straw. I'm done. I'm done. Can't do it no more. KT Oslin cassette. Headed to Norway. Sold for $7. Set. $6.99. And you need the code for cassette. And it kind of stunk too, because that was one thing I always looked forward to growing up, is the kind of thing like we had all made a pact, like when, here I go again, messing up. If one of us makes it type of thing, we'll watch out, we'll bring the other ones up with us type of thing. So the fact that I was in a position where I could pay for everybody to go on a week-long trip to the Smoky Mountains was awesome feeling for me, right? And then just to be totally disrespected like that, I'm like, man. It's kind of a bummer. It's almost like losing a lifelong friend, you know? Kind of like, you know, you're dead to me. I'm sorry, but It's not going to happen again. Last straw. And of course, then he goes around bad-mouthing me afterwards. Buccelli CD sold for $6, headed to Quentin, Virginia. So of course he's always been the victim. So he's always had that victim mentality. Jeff Moody CDs headed to Blue Springs, Missouri, sold for $21. More $20. $20.30. Thought that was 59. It's 29. 29. We're at 10:09. Where am I at? $205. So halfway point where I like to be. Old fart trucker hat. Sold for $10.50. Muskegon, Michigan. Muskegon, Michigan. Where are we at? 57 minutes, huh? We're about right on time. We got 2 items left. Time to change you. That one came out all right. All right. Sometimes when like bad things happen to me within the past like 20 years or whatever, I'm like, that's just karma repaying me for things that I might have done growing up. It's just karma. I deserve it. It's just life evening things out. Even though deep down I feel like I've got a lot more damage done to me than I ever gave anybody else. But that could just be my biased perception of it. Anyway, St. Louis Cardinals jersey. Gibson jersey sold for $10, headed to Mississippi. Like, I just always looked at when I look back on my youth, I think the main thing that stands out to me is just, I'm always apologizing to people I grew up with, because I'm like, I'm sorry if I was an asshole back then. Like, most of them just say, we all were. So it's like, no big deal, type of thing. We all were young and dumb, and my last friend, I can't look, the text is on there. His comment was, which I like the best, and why didn't you print, was something to the effect of, we were all just fighting to survive. type of thing, which made a lot of sense. So that's the way all the friends I grew up with kind of looked at it. Is we were all assholes at one time, and we were all just in a, grew up in a pretty bad situation, Reprint. Oh, the reprint's still not working right. Because this friend just popped back, started talking again because he got a divorce and his wife did not like me at all. But she didn't like a lot of people. She was just thought she was one of those people who would attack you for liking Trump, who just thought they were above everything and their thoughts were 100% foolproof, right? And nothing else mattered type of thing. Instead of having an open mind and discussions and talks, no, just one of those straight down the middle people. It's like, so she just hated a lot of people. So this hat sold for $7, headed to Vernon Hills, Illinois. Saskineta, something. But she was raised as a county girl and never had to worry about a thing. And her parents took everything, or paid for everything. And then when they died, she got everything, and she was kind of set up for life and stuff. So she had everything handed to her. But I guess she finally got tired of the friend I grew up with and left him and divorced him. So he finally reached out. I'm like, no big deal. I understood, I understood why you, to save the peace in the house, you just didn't talk to me. I get it. No big deal. I'm not offended. I get it. I understand. Boom. Wonder how many international got shipped yesterday. Let's see. 2. 1 today, 2 yesterday. So the international's really slowed down, it seems. Which probably has to do with the whole shipping issue thing, too. So. Oop, out of paper. I'm coming. James to the rescue. There you go. Eat it up, yum. That's why I try just to be a good human nowadays. Anything that's negative or bad, I just walk away. Don't need to be a part of that. You ain't gonna drag me down a road I've been down way too many times in the past. Try to be a better person, not a bigger person. Not trying to be a bigger person than the other. Just trying to be a better person personally. Because the only person I have to worry about is me. So I only compare myself to myself. As long as I'm better today than I was yesterday, I am happy and fine with that. So you can only apologize for the things you did wrong. People who know you accept it and understand and apologize even back for stuff that you didn't feel that they may have done wrong, that you're just like, it was nothing to me. But type of thing. So anyway, that's it. We are caught up. Still 205. Hopefully don't go blank today. And that is all. And if anything exciting happens, I'll see you guys in an evening video. If not, I'll see you at tomorrow's shipping video. So please like, subscribe, and all that jive. And I will see you all in the next video. Later.